another point. Have you seen everything you came to see? Now go back to your friends and report. Tell them the little fish I throw back into the sea. Now move!
Spectre's agent of death. 007 style.
How's it going out there, YouTubers and all social media lands? Welcome to an all-new movie review. So this is the fourth film in the James Bond series from Eon Pictures that I'll be reviewing, people. So we're going to get right into that. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of these videos I put up. And as always, let's get right into this. Welcome one and all social media lands. Welcome to an all-new movie review. So like I was saying before, this is the fourth film in the James Bond series that I'm reviewing. And this is the fourth film also in my James Bond review series-a-thon. Oh yeah. So the film that I'm going to be talking about today is none other than the film called Thunderball. Oh yeah, Thunderball. So Thunderball, like I said, is the fourth James Bond film. And actually a cool little bit note for you guys, or a little cool tidbit, is that Thunderball actually was supposed to be the very first James Bond film made. So Dr. No actually was on the back burner for a long time, and actually they were planning on starting off with doing Thunderball. But because of legal issues, because of certain writings and stuff like that, and different parties and stuff like that, they actually had to put that on the back burner and decided to go forward with Dr. No to make it the first Bond film, until they were able to get those legal issues, all fixed and set up so that they could use Thunderball, which I thought was a kind of a cool and interesting little tidbit. Now, with Thunderball, this film, by the fourth outing, I thought, oh, this is going to be a great film. They're starting to get seasoned and stuff like that. Well, boy, was I wrong. Because once again, they brought back a director who I feel doesn't really know how to make a spy film, unfortunately. So, talking about the director, this one was directed none other again by Mr. Terence Young. Oh yeah! Terence Young again, people. So this was his third and final outing of directing a James Bond film. Very happy this was his last outing because I feel he just was not the greatest director for these films. Like I said, he got better and better as time went on, but he still just didn't have the feel like, what Goldfinger had, or what any of the other James Bonds I've seen so far felt. It just felt like he was very stuck in a certain type of genre or type of film that he thought was a spy film, and it just did not fit like how Goldfinger does, that was directed by Guy Hamilton. Now, with this time around, there's a couple films that, Terence Young directed that I've heard of. I haven't seen them, but I have heard good things about them, that they were pretty decent. The first film happens to be a film that happened back in the 40s that is called Woman Haters. Oh yeah, Woman Haters. Now, Woman Haters is a comedy film, and basically the premise of the story was this rich guy basically hires this person on to try to seduce them, basically, and the person that gets hired finds out that that's why she was hired, and she starts to turn the ball on him, which I think sounds like a really fun story. Very, very, comedy-ish sounding type of deal. There's a lot of comedies that are similar to this. But from what I've read and what I saw, about this film, it just looks like it's probably a good, funny film, probably a decent one, and probably something that was more up Terence Young's alley. Now, the second film that he directed that I've heard of, I haven't seen either, is a movie that is kind of like a rom-com for its time. It's not really, I don't think, there's some comedy elements to it. It's more about romance, maybe a little drama in it, what I've read about it. And this one seemed like it might be a decent film. I might eventually check it out. And then, of course, the film called One Night with You. Oh yeah, One Night with You. Yeah, look at that cool poster. That wasn't that cool poster. I just think that it looked really fun and interesting, in that it'd be a decent type of flick to watch. So when it comes to that film too, after reading about it and stuff like that, it seems like that was another one that was very much up Terence Young's alley. So that's something I might eventually check out too down the road. That was more that, would be more of a film that Terence Young's abilities really would provide a decent flick from. Because I'm sorry, Thunderball was not his flick. When it comes to Thunderball though, and his direction, I did like his improvements that he made from Russia with Love. I love that he tried to make it more action. I love that he tried to differentiate it from the other two films he's directed. Because this one definitely had a lot of great potential, but I just don't think he really directed it properly and gave it the needed, oomph like Goldfinger had, or any of its predecessors. Because I just think that there was so much to it that could have been so amazing, but I just felt he made it a little too long and a little too boring in certain parts. But other than that, I think that, Terence was a great director. He had a great eye for certain things. And I thought that, he did a decent job directing, the actors and actresses that were involved with the film to make some decent performances. So once again, this film had a really decent cast of some great actors and actresses that usually, from what I've seen them in, or trailers I've seen them in, were pretty decent actors and actresses. Now, of course, to start us off is none other than the Bond himself, Mr. Sean Connery! Oh yeah! So this is Sean Connery's fourth outing as the great James Bond character. Every film I felt he improved and got better and just was fun to watch. Now, a couple films I really enjoyed of his that I actually haven't had a chance to check out, but have watched the trailers, have read about them, and they look like really awesome films. The first one I'm going to talk about is one that came out in the 80s called The Name of the Rose. Oh yeah, The Name of the Rose, which this is a very interesting type of concept of a film too. I thought it was interesting that he plays like a friar character, and just kind of like the ins and outs of what happens throughout this film, and him trying to kind of save the world and save people, and like kind of, help people out and stuff like that. It just looks like kind of like an action-packed film with a friar character, kind of like along the lines of Robin Hood. That's the kind of feeling I got from it. But I've heard a lot of good things about this film. I remember this film got a lot of recognition when it came out. Even a few years after that, even when like The Medicine Man was coming out that he was in, I remember people talking about, in The Name of the Rose, that, that was one of his best films to date, and that it was just a really cool concept and a great film. So this is definitely something that I'll have to check out in the future real soon, because this is something that looks really fantastic, and I'm surprised I haven't watched it yet, but definitely looking forward to checking it out. Now, the second film he was in that is another one I've never watched, and I don't know why. I love Disney movies, and every time I looked at the cover of this film, for some reason I envisioned that was Fred McMurray on the front cover of this film, and I did not realize it was Sean Connery, and I feel like a dum-dum. But anyways, the film I'm talking about is the great Disney film from the 50s, Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Oh yeah, Darby O'Gill and Little People! Look at the Irish. And, you think, duh, Sean Connery, hello, he's Scottish. It's supposed to be about Irish people. Scottish and Irish are very similar. Hello, Ron. Anyway, so, this film, it just looks amazing. I've seen definitely a billion trailers for it. I've seen bits and clips of it over the years. And this is something that I'm surprised I've never watched. It looks super awesome and amazing. I don't feel a lot of people talk about his performance in this film, because it's definitely not something that he was so known for, from like action flicks to, drama type of thriller films and stuff like that. This definitely wasn't, a musical type of film, was not something he usually did. So I don't think that's why this is not talked about a lot. But still, it just looks like an amazing film, and definitely will be checking this out real soon to see his performance and see how well. But from what I've read in the reviews, I've heard that he was really fantastic in it. His singing with the actress that was in it was really amazing together, and just was a really well done film. Definitely looking forward to checking that out. But like I was saying before, his performances, I feel, have gotten better and better over the James Bond films. This one was no exception. I thought he was really fantastic in it. really amazing, and I thought that he brought a great suaveness to James Bond in this one. I felt he was definitely more of James Bond in this one versus, say, when he started in Dr. No. His lady charisma, I felt, was even more dynamic in this one, and just even his interactions with everyone in this film was just a lot better, and his fight choreography, too. Really impressive, really enjoyed it, and thought he did a really fantastic job. So that brings me to the second actress I like to talk about that's in this film. And this is none other than the James Bond girl lead for the film that is James Bond's love interest. And that, of course, is the actress known as Claudine Auger. Oh yeah, Claudine Auger. Miss France. Woo! So she was a model, actress, did a lot of that kind of stuff over the years. She was a model for many years, along with some acting. She did some acting majorly through, most of her career in her life, and, really didn't do too much. She did a lot of French films, so a lot of films I haven't seen of hers, because I'm not a huge foreign film fan. I just don't find them very interesting unless it has a topic that I'm really interested in. And most of the time, the stories that are about, foreign films, unfortunately, is like love stories and stuff like that, and that's just not always my cup of tea. But anyways, she was in two films that were over here in America that I've heard of. I haven't seen them, but I have heard of them. Now, the first film happens to be a Goldie Hawn film that I remember hearing about it. I remember might have seen a trailer for it, but I don't know much about it except for that it's more like a romantic comedy. And that film is called Lovers and Liars. Oh yeah, Lovers and Liars. And Claudine has a substantial role in the film that is opposite of Goldie Hawn in the film, and she plays like a really, interesting and definitely a decent portrayal in the film that was a really good addition to the film, I've heard, and what I've read, and that she did bring a great essence to her character, and even was able to talk in her own native language, or even just her natural voice, actually. Because unfortunately, if you did not know this, in Thunderball, her voice is actually dubbed, which is too bad, because apparently, I guess, once again, another, foreign actress, her accent was too thick to really understand, so they had to use a voice double, unfortunately. But at the same time, this Lover and Liars I heard really great things about. Definitely something I'll definitely check out in the future. I love Goldie Hawn. Think she's fantastic. And definitely interesting to see what Claudine brought to that film. The second film that Claudine was in is another film that is a French film, but was filmed over in England, and has, English-speaking language in the film. And then, of course, the film called Fantastica. Oh yeah, Fantastica. The name alone just kind of drew me in for when I was researching movies about her, and this film just sounds really cool. So after I, researched it, it's kind of like a fantasy film / kind of drama, thriller, kind of a little bit of comedy element to it, I read and heard. And just one of those films that's just really kind of bizarre a little bit, and has a lot of great, interesting scenes that go throughout the film. And just even the cover, as you saw of the actual poster, it's a very interesting looking, concept of a film. So this is definitely something I'm gonna research more into and check out and see what it's all about. But I've heard many good things, and I've also, like I said, I've read several things about this film that makes it a cult classic, and definitely something that might be interesting to watch, especially to kind of broaden my horizons on certain films. So definitely looking forward to checking that out. But when it comes to her performance in Thunderball, I thought she was okay. I thought she was mediocre. I don't think she was that great of an actress. I thought that she was okay. I thought that definitely some of the other gals that have played Bond girls have been better. They've been, they had a little better acting prowess. They just brought a, better characterization to the character. Because I felt that throughout the whole film of Thunderball, she was kind of flat. And she, brought, her looks and everything, but her acting with each actor and actress in that film, I feel that it just was not as par as the other people were doing. And I felt that it just wasn't anything that great. So unfortunately, I don't think she was that fantastic in this film, and that's too bad because I was really looking forward to enjoying her performance, when I first started watching the film, but unfortunately, I felt it was kind of boring and just not lackluster. So hopefully some other films I'll check out of hers will be different. So that brings me to the final actor I like to talk about that was in this movie. And that is none other than a gentleman that go by the name of Adolfo Celi. Oh yeah, Adolfo. So this gentleman was an Italian actor that did predominantly, Italian films, French films, foreign films, and stuff like that, but did do a few American films, and Thunderball was one of them. He actually plays Emilio Largo in this film, and he's the main bad guy, and he was actually pretty decent in the film, and I enjoyed him. Now, a couple films that I've heard of that he was in, I haven't seen these ones either, but are familiar with the films and basically what they're about. Now, the first film happens to be a film that is just really kind of an action-packed adventure. It is a film called The Von Ryan Expressway. Oh yeah, Von Ryan. Woo! So this I've heard a lot of great things about. It's a great action-adventure epic. It has lots of great action sequences, lots of great scenery, and Adolfo in the movie is really amazing, I've heard. I also saw that and read that his performance was really, one of his best performances of his career, and something that a lot of people remember from that film is his performance. So I'm really looking forward to checking this film out and seeing what he brought to the table. Now, the second film he was in that I've heard of, I haven't watched it, but I know a little bit about it. Very kind of familiar with the actress Julie Christie, and she was kind of the main character in this film, and he plays her father in the film. And that, of course, is a film called In Search of Gregory. Oh yeah, In Search of Gregory. Ooh. So this one is a thriller type of film / kind of drama, and basically it's about her father is trying to set her up with a suitor, basically, and kind of having this three-way relationship that's very incestuous from what I've read and saw. And it's just kind of an interesting thriller / drama type of film. His character, Max, in the film was really on point, and him and Julie Christie worked really well off of each other and made a fantastic film. So this is definitely something that would be definitely an interesting type of film to maybe check out eventually in the future and see what it's all about and see if, what I've read is on point for what the film actually is about. Now, it comes to, like I said, his performance in Thunderball. I thought he was amazing as Emilio Largo. He was fantastic. He was a great villain. He was really educated at his character and really brought it to life. Gave us this really great kind of evil guy, but with a little bit of a heart. And also, just at the same time, I feel he was one of the better Bond villains I've seen. I thought he was way better than Dr. No. I thought he was definitely on par with Robert Shaw's character in From Russia with Love. And definitely, similar to Goldfinger. I don't think he was as good as Goldfinger, but definitely he was really on par, or he was still like a tad bit tiny, a little under how amazing Goldfinger was, played by Gert in that film. But still a great bad guy character, a great presence in the film, and a great addition to that film. So what is Thunderball basically about? The premise of Thunderball is James Bond has been recruited to help bring back 2 Russian nuclear missiles that have been taken and stolen by the bad guys in the film, and that are trying to use them to basically overtake the world, basically. And it's up to James Bond to stop them and get them back and to keep the world safe. And, basically it's his, encounters with these people that help him get to where he needs to get to be able to stop the bad guys and get rid of those bombs. Really fun film, really interesting. Like I said, not my favorite. Still had a lot of great scenery in the films. I love a lot of the scenery. I thought there was some really interesting intro credit scenes with the females at the beginning dancing and stuff like that. I thought that was really kind of cool. All the scenes that they did that were underwater, the action sequences were really amazing for its time. I thought they were on point and really awesome. Definitely a lot of great action in the film. I love the sharks that were in the film. I love that they used that element and had that as part of it. I love that whole aspect, and I thought that was really cool. But other than that, I thought the film as a whole was just a letdown and boring, just like the other Terence Young James Bond films. I definitely give this one a 5 out of 10. Movie boxes up. Definitely recommend checking out, just to say that you've seen all the James Bond films, but I would not add this to my collection. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching, thank you for liking, and also thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, don't forget to check out any older, newer videos you might not have seen mine yet. As always, check out the awesome links down below, especially for my Patreon page, where you get to see exclusive cool stuff before anybody else if you're an actual Patreon member, where you get to see bloopers, outtakes, deleted scenes, all kinds of cool stuff like that, new projects and stuff like that coming up. So definitely check that out too if you haven't. And also the horror pack, of course, if you're a huge horror fan. Links down below. As always, people, catch you in the next one.